Hi, I'm Old Norse Specialist Dr. Jackson Crawford. This is a video that's not really about Old Norse. This is a uh, wedding month video about something totally different. Um, I am a big fan of quality everyday carry gear, and I think that there is really no everyday carry item that matters quite as much as the flashlight that you have on you. I use flashlights all the time. I need light all the time. This isn't just a tactical thing, right? It's just an everyday, like, oh, I've got to see what's way inside the drawer, or way deep in the engine, or what have you, right? And as the days get shorter and the evenings get earlier, I find myself using my daily carry flashlight more and more. So I don't know if they knew this, but someone at Olight, a flashlight brand that I really like, reached out to me and asked me if I'd be interested in reviewing prototypes. And I said, yeah, sure, because you have no idea how long I've been going on this quest for the perfect carry light. So before I get those lights, they're sending me an Arkpro, which is the new everyday carry light, and a Marauder 2, which that's more like that's going to be like a great truck light or maybe bedside light. Let me show you what I've gone through, at least in the last, 5 years in terms of flashlights that I've tried for that everyday carry goal. Always looking for that Goldilocks, right? Because I want something that's bright, uh, simple, easy to state, but of course, there's lots of different kinds of brightness. I want it to be easy to charge. I want it to hold the charge for a long time. Actually, need to be writing these down for when the actual lights come. I think it's sort of interesting to take note of what I want before I see the thing that I'm supposed to be reviewing. So bright, easy to charge, holds charge. I want something, and this is important to me. I want it to look like a flashlight or at least look non-threatening. The reason I say that is I feel like going through TSA, look, I already didn't bring a knife, buddy. Like that already feel naked without that. Don't make me give up my flashlight. And I feel like the TSA just sees everything electronic that doesn't look like a flashlight as something else. So for a long time, my daily carry, and you can kind of tell for a long time because this thing is really beat up. It's losing its black color all over the place, was this Surefire Stiletto Pro. You might say, Surefire, you must be rolling in money. Well, because this is like a $400 flashlight, right? Uh, Yeah, I was never exactly rolling in money, but there was a period in my life where I was stupid about money and had begun making more than I had made working in academia. So the sort of thing tempted me. Anything really cool, tactical, that was just great everyday equipment, interested me. And, around what would this have been? Somewhere in the 2019 to 21 era, uh, I briefly uh, encountered before later dismissing and disproving the notion that you get what you pay for. Surefire, in my opinion, you know, flashlights are all right. Probably the Surefire that I like the most, the only other one I have is a Maximus, one of the headbands. That works pretty well. Um, but this has been sitting in a drawer. The last time it was charged was only maybe a month or two ago, and it's already lost its charge. Now it's, you know, 4 to 6 years old, but that still strikes me as suboptimal. But the thing that I was going to mention about this is I did carry it for a long time. I hated the pocket clip. Actually, that's something else that I should put on there. The pocket clip was sharp, catch on things, would scratch things. Did not like that. I don't like a uh, pocket clip that comes out so much that it catches on every kitchen counter that you walk past, or catches on the latch for the door or something like that. So I took that off, and this would just float around in my pocket. TSA once thought this was a taser. which I sort of understand. It really doesn't look like a flashlight. Not sure what it looks like. I'm not sure it really looks like a taser, but yeah, it doesn't look like a flashlight exactly. Also, handing this to somebody, it's like, oh no, that's not the button. That's the program button. That's not how you turn it on. Like it's not very intuitive. So intuitive controls are a good thing. Maybe I should plug this into the appropriate charger and see if I can get it to work again so I can actually do it. Like brightness comparison, that might be useful. Start charging? Yes, all right. So here's another thing. I plug this in and it starts charging, and I get a little red light. That's not necessarily that intuitive because maybe it can already shine, right? I don't know if this one can shine when it's got the light. When it's plugged in, I guess it doesn't. So that's pretty much empty of battery. I want a battery indicator if it's there to tell me something. Now, my next everyday carry, I mean, I've had more flashlights than this, but the next one that I carried very much was a Streamlight Wedge. This is my second one. It's definitely more affordable than the Surefire Stiletto, although it's still, I mean, if you're serious about flashlights, you're still spending more money than normal people would, right? But an everyday carry flashlight that's maybe $100 versus $300, $400, certainly it's better, right? This is my second one because my first one also stopped holding a charge. Um, I feel like uh, this can be an issue with Surefires and Streamlights that I've never had with Olights. One of the reasons that I've migrated to Olights over the years. I also used to carry a Surefire Micro, the one that's about that long. And, I had a few of those. Those were pretty affordable. Those were only like 40, maybe $30. Um, Used to give them to people a lot as gifts. But those, like, I would carry them for a while and they would just stop charging and stop holding a charge. But these wedges are still, they're nice. Um, I still take issue with the pocket clip. This does catch on things. Um, Lynch, that's what they're called, right? The feather logo. And the Pacific Northwest makes a pocket clip for this, though, that's a little bit better. Uh, I put those pocket clips on my Spydercos, and I definitely prefer the profile. It's a lot uh, lower off the pocket while not being big enough to catch anything, and it lets you have a nice deep carry. So that's an option on these. I mean, the clip's not that bad. It's better than the clip that was on the Surefire Stiletto. It's still a nice deep carry clip. Well, once again, we have the problem. This does not look like a flashlight, right? This looks like, if it looks like anything, and it has been mistaken for this, it looks like one of those out the front automatic switchblade knives, like Microtech Troodon or something like that, which I have my issues with as a product. Also, I don't have feeling in one finger thanks to one of those, but uh, but that's a long and arguably funny story about me trying to demonstrate knife safety by showing someone what they shouldn't do. Anyway, um, this does have a better battery indicator. So I turn this on and I see this little green light here. Now I don't know, does that mean it's 100% charged? Does that mean it's like 50% charged? I'm not really sure. It's not, it doesn't really tell me if I need to plug it in soon or not. But I guess if it gets to, I think it just goes green to red. It's like, well, then I definitely want to plug it in. And this is a nice intuitive interface in a sense. I mean, there's nothing to confuse anybody about what you push, right? There's only one thing to push. So you push it once for I believe it's a 500 lumen light, and then you just push it a little bit further and you get that 1000 lumen light. Now, one of the nice things about a light of 1000 lumens or more is I feel like it's, and call this goofy or unrealistic or whatever you want. I feel like there is some actual self-defense use there, right? Um, I don't want to have a, gunfight, knife fight, fist fight, whatever with anybody. But I do have my encounters with weirdos, anonymous or uh, otherwise. And one of the most effective ways that I find to deal with weirdos without, actually having a fight with somebody is just, you know, that. It's just, get off me, get away, leave me alone. I'm leaving. I like having a light that I can easily access a really bright setting on. So 1,000 lumens or more for my get the hell away from me, man, uh, move. Now, like I said, my one of my biggest issues with the wedge is that it looks like a switchblade. So what I've been carrying now for quite a while, um, about a year, is an Olight Baton 4. Now, this isn't perfect, but this gets me some things that these two don't get me. It looks like a flashlight that's very good. Um, it's fat, right? It's not the greatest fit in my pocket. Like I do prefer the slimmer. I mean, actually, it's not much different, but at least not rounded shape of this, although it's part of it not looking like a flashlight. So, uh, but this is sort of tolerable. Like if this were a really long light, if this were as long as this would be hard to carry in my pocket. It would just be a lot. That would be a little bit like the Warrior 3S from Olight that I tried for a while. That was just way too big to carry in a pocket. It was a cool light, but it was too big, too like it just you can see it in a pocket. I want to be more of a gray man. I don't want you noticing the cool stuff that I have on me unless I'm showing it to you. Um, but this is tolerable because it's so tiny that it doesn't make a big bulge or whatever, although you can tell I have a flashlight in my pocket. Um, this has a really nice pocket clip. Never got it hung on anything. It also goes two ways, so I guess you can do the thing where you put it on a baseball cap. I've never needed that. I don't wear baseball caps, but I guess it's useful. You could also clip it two different ways inside your pocket. It doesn't go quite as bright. So when you push the button and it's nice to see there's only one button, so it's intuitive how to operate this. You push the button and one of three modes comes on. Now on this side, what you get when you turn it on and off is percent of battery remaining, which is great. I like that way I can just, charge it when I am, get down to 2 bars out of 3, um, but not worry about it if I'm out and it gets down to 2 bars out of 3 and practice this thing. I use this all the time, and I think I've actually hit the charger like once in a year or so. This thing holds its battery really, really well, um, which is the thing I like. It has 3 settings. So there's one really dim one. As you can see, it's not even really changing the lighting situation around me here. Then there's a medium one. So you just hold it a little bit longer to switch. And this is my like default nice. I'm outside looking around light. But I like often if I'm inside a lot, leaving it on the dimmer one to start with, just because, if it's the middle of the night and all I'm doing is rooting around the apartment trying to, change the temperature on the thermostat or something, I don't want to create a bright light and disturb my fiance or something. But it does have a third brighter light. It's not as super bright. I'll probably show these outside too to kind of give a sense of that. So it's not quite as much of a get off me man light. Also, you can't activate it right away. But the sheer practicality of something this small, this unnoticeable in a pocket relative to something that looks like a switchblade or a taser, uh, that has that bright of a light. I think it's like 500 lumens. It's still nice. Like it still has made this win as my go-to carry beyond the fact that I know that it's going to last for as long as I need it because I barely ever need to charge it. Speaking of charging, one nice thing the Baton 4 has as an option is this little thing that looks like I don't know, it looks like a Zippo almost. You can put it in. It has a readout of its percentage of power in this power bank. Slip it in, and that starts charging it. Doesn't take very long for it to get back to 100. And you can charge the power bank from uh, from its own charger. It's a pretty typical little USB-C charger. You can also charge this on a little magnetic charger that comes with it. You just put it down on, and that plugs into a USB port, and that's convenient too. So easy to charge. I like that. I like carrying this power bank around when I'm on trips because I can charge not only the flashlight if it's really necessary, but I can also use this in a pinch if I need to charge up a phone or even my laptop. I guess I could probably, I've never charged my laptop with it, but I've charged my phone and AirPods with it. What else could I say about the Baton 4 that's influenced this to be my daily carry? I mean, appearance is such a subjective thing, but I like green. Uh, so, it's not like it's not going to kill me if it's not available in a particular color or something, but this is nice looking and not aggressive looking, right? Like if some TSA guy is rooting around in my bag, like they're going to see this and say, oh, it's a flashlight. One problem that I had, and other than its size, this was my biggest problem with the Olight Warrior 3S, which I wound up giving to a friend who uh, has to deal with problem dogs on his nighttime walks. I thought that might actually be a nice fit for him. Um, but that Olight 3S Warrior 3S says Warrior on it in really big letters, which is like the thing that made me decide, well, I'm not bringing this on any airplanes because I don't want something that just says, I don't want to argue with some TSA guy about what my stuff is. It's a light, man, right? I don't really think I'm going to wind up hitting somebody with it. The aggressive bezel thing, I just like, am I really going to fight you with a flashlight? I don't know. Uh, I guess it could happen, and it's not the worst thing to have, but I feel like designing the flashlight to be fought with like that, just it's sort of unnecessary. If it's a heavy enough object, I guess you could hit somebody with it in a pinch, right? Um, but I'm one of these guys, I'm kind of a casual prepper. I don't believe in prepping for the end of the world. I believe in the Cormac McCarthy, the road notion that you cannot prep for the end of the world. So what's the point? But I believe in prepping for daily life problems that come up, right? Things that have happened to me or things that have happened to people that I know about. It's like, I should be ready for that. And one of those is just, it's dark and I can't see anything. Um, if you're prepared for the things that actually might happen to you, then perhaps you're as prepared as one could be for a really bad emergency that you can't really predict. So this is bright enough. It's easy to charge. Just looking down these things I've written down. Holds a charge great. Non-threatening looking. Pocket clip doesn't catch on things. Intuitive operation. Maybe not the most intuitive. To be honest, if you're just handing it to somebody who's never seen one of these, like, yeah, hold it a little bit longer to make it brighter. But for somebody who's into flashlights, it's intuitive and easy. Battery indicator is great. Better than certainly the Streamlight or the Surefire. A little bit fat in pocket. That's my main issue, and it doesn't go real bright, and you can't just open it up bright. Like if I want that brightest setting, I'm always going to have to cycle into it. I can't just start it there. I have to start it at the lowest. One other Olight that I should mention here is I've got this Mini 2. This is actually the flashlight that Lauren prefers. She keeps it on her keychain. Uh, it's you know it's not a super super bright light, but for a nice little light that can show you around an apartment or maybe help you with a flat tire, although I'd want something a little bit uh, more than this probably for that. It's not bad at all. I'd rather have this than have nothing, and I'm glad that she's got it. One of the neatest things about this, I think it is just the one setting, which you activate by pulling it away from its base or taking it off of its little base. One of the neatest things about this is the charge, which is a USB. I guess I have to thread this off. I can just like plug this into my laptop and charge it. It's pretty neat. Uh, right? I mean, so easily available charging. Okay, so what am I going to be hoping for with the Arkpro? I'm going to be hoping for something that has all the advantages of the Olight Baton for bright. I'm actually hoping that it'll be brighter. I believe that it is. And then I can access that brightest setting right away without having to cycle into it. We'll see. Easy to charge, right? Some kind of easy common charger type or a power pack or, maybe that USB solution, although I don't think they do that for anything but the little minis. Non-threatening looking. That's important to me in an everyday carry. Pocket clip doesn't shred other things. That's important to me too. I don't want it just floating around in my pocket either. I want a pocket clip. Intuitive use, i.e., there is a button that I'm always going to know that I need to push to make it come on. You can have two buttons, that's okay. But like, I don't want to have to like hand it to somebody else and say, press the button. No, not the one that looks like the button you should push. Right? That's the biggest problem with this thing. Push the other button, the one that you can't see. It's a pretty ridiculous thing about the stiletto. I like the battery indicator. And I think it's pretty standard on O lights because it was on the Warrior 2, Warrior 3S2. Um, I'd like something that fits a little bit better in my pocket than this. This is kind of fat. I'd like something a little bit slimmer. It still looks like a flashlight. And if it looks cool, that will be a nice plus. So we'll see when it gets here, and I'll add that review onto this. But I appreciate you folks taking the time with me for this little foray into something else that I have fun with. And thanks, Olight, for sending me a couple lights and indulging this hobby of mine. And if you want to acquire them yourself, there is a Amazon link that you can use in the video description and probably in a pinned comment that helps the channel out a little bit too. All right, till I get the Arkpro. All right, well, I'm here with my fiance Lauren and my cousin Kelly for the biggest event of this weekend, the arrival of another flashlight. Right? Nothing else is going on.
Where are you sleeping tonight?
Somewhere with a flashlight.
Yeah.
It won't be dark because I'll have the Olight Arkpro, the newest pocket light from Olight. Let's check this out. Nice package. They sent me a green one that's thoughtful because,
Because it's the best color.
that affection for green. I don't know if they knew about that or that's just coincidence, but that's sweet of them. Comes nicely packaged. Oh, I like the shape of it. All right, well, looks convenient for a pocket.
It's
Right?
rectangular.
That's awesome.
Shouldn't stick out too much there. So we've got let's see. Oh, I've got
There's the battery.
still got yeah. Oh, I gotta charge it first. Okay.
Instructions on it for opening.
Well, then we will charge this before we
Done
get
this
further
without
information.
browsing.
Yeah, it needs to be charged, but nice looking light. I like the shape. It's a nice pocket clip. Shouldn't get in the way of anything.
We will return shortly.
Yeah. Biggest event of the weekend. All right, so I'm back having had the Arkpro for a few days, including over my wedding weekend, as was alluded to. And in fact, it and the Marauder, to my surprise, the Marauder Mini 2 actually had a big role to play in the wedding, getting us some really cool spotlight photos. But the Arkpro was really useful for just a lot of everyday things. I was really glad to have it with me. So let's evaluate the Arkpro based on the criteria that I outlined before I had ever seen it. And I'll either have that before this part of the video or maybe after this part of the video in case I think that it got too long and people just want to see my evaluation of the Arkpro. So first criterion, brightness. I can get to 1500 lumens, which is pretty darn bright. Certainly brighter than the Baton. It's easy to just click through the different brightness levels. And there's both a flash and there's both a flood and a spotlight setting. So I can make that both more focused and more flood. And I'll probably get some outdoor pictures to show you that. I think the amount of brightness is great. You can very quickly just do 2 clicks to get maximum, which is great for that get off of me criterion that I outlined. Super brighter than the Baton 4, brighter than the Mini 2, actually brighter than the Stiletto Surefire, the Streamlight wedge that I was also talking about. So it's all very good. Easy to charge, definitely. Uh, two charging systems, just like the Baton 4. There's the battery, and there is a typical USB-C charger. So super easy. Also, battery indicator on the right, just like other O lights like the Baton 4, so I can easily see what percentage it's at. Um, Used it a ton this weekend and it never went below the top bar. I plugged it in to charge USB-C. Apparently, USB-C charges a little bit faster than the magnet according to the user manual. I charged it with USB-C. It took just a few minutes to get it back to where it wasn't blinking on the top level anymore. So I knew that it was 100% charged. That was nice. Nice to know that it's 100% charged versus, 80% charged. And of course, fine rocking with it in my pocket at 80% charge for a long time because previous O-lights just don't seem to lose battery very fast, which is great. So I can't evaluate holds charge yet, but my anticipation with previous O-lights is that it most likely does. Non-threatening shape doesn't look like a knife or taser. I certainly think this looks less like a knife than the Streamlight Wedge, and the main reason for that is it's a little bit smaller and it doesn't have it's not as squared. I think that actually this sort of wedge, ironic because the other flashlight is called a wedge, this sort of wedge shape uh, makes it look a little bit less like something like a combat Troodon in my pocket or something like that. Definitely doesn't look like a taser, and you can tell it's a flashlight pretty fast, but just looking at the lights at the end. It doesn't have those strike bezels, which I've always thought are kind of useless. If I am in such a bad position that I'm having to beat on somebody with my flashlight, I suspect that the hardness of the flashlight is probably enough, and I don't need to make it look like something TSA needs to take away from me. For what it's worth, speaking of that kind of a scenario, or just the scenario where you're sweaty or it's raining or something like that, there are really nice recessed grooves uh, on the side here, so I feel like I'd keep a pretty good grip on it. Plus, actually, the pocket clip is pretty nice fit into the finger joints back there. Speaking of the pocket clip, it's nice, pretty recessed. It does go both ways, like the Baton 4 does. So if you do want to put it on a baseball cap or something like that, that should work. Um, I haven't had any problems so far with it catching on anything, so it seems great. Intuitive controls. I would read the user manual. I don't feel like I could just, and I actually did experiment with this quite a bit, just handing it to somebody and letting them know how to use it. I mean, you can tell this is a button that does something, but people aren't used to looking at the laser engraved or whatever exactly it is, symbols up there and figuring out what to do. People aren't used to a flashlight that does so much. Um, so I think you do have to take a minute to say, well, you have to switch it between modes. And I'll talk about what those modes are in a moment. But if you are an O-light user, if you have previous experience using, Ton 4 or something like that, it's not that hard to figure it out. A lot of O-light flashlights work in a pretty similar way. Too fat in the pocket? No, it's a little long. The baton, like, here I said the Baton 4 was a little short, and I'm saying this is a little long. I guess my dream, you're never going to find absolute perfection. I'd probably go for just a hair shorter. Um, I think maybe the Arkpro Mini is a tiny bit shorter, but I like the features on this a little bit better. I don't really need the red light in many situations that's on the Mini, and I like the extra brightness on this. So I think this is overall, everything is a compromise, but on size in the pocket, I definitely prefer this slightly longer than I would shoot for to the slightly shorter than I would shoot for the Baton 4. And it's not as big around that, again, kind of wedge shape feels pretty, I don't notice it in my pocket very much, and that's really what I'm going for there. It's very nice. Appearance good. I mean, it's a nice coincidence that I got green because I like green. Um, not much to say about that. Really interesting feature though is just how many different lights are actually on this. So as I mentioned, there is a floodlight and spotlight option, and you can alternate between them. It's also a UV light, which is two brightness settings. So I can, you know, look at all the dust on the keyboard or other things. I mean, I think that the main application for this is probably, uh, travelers checking out their hotel rooms, that sort of thing. Um, Actually, it might assist with finding certain kinds of things or with cleanup and like I thought about maybe cleaning up in a bathroom or something like that, where you're looking for, like, well, is this have I have I actually cleaned this wall well enough or something like that? I don't know. It's not something that I need a whole lot, but it's neat. There's also two different UV brightness settings. The thing that I found myself actually using the most, other than just the regular floodlight for walking around in the dark, is there's a laser pointer. So this little button on the side gets you a green laser. And actually that has uh, two different, I guess not brightness, but intensity levels. I used this all the time walking around this dark town with, our 20 to 30 wedding guests. It's like, oh, hey, where's the bathroom or something like that? That's over there, right there. Right? Or which one is Nighthawk? That guy. That's Nighthawk. That's the one you want to talk to about pictures. Um, Or I would just use it to, you have 25 people milling around who don't necessarily know each other very well. Just drawing a circle on the floor with the laser pointer just to kind of gather everybody, get their attention. And that was really, really useful. So the laser pointer, I didn't expect to use all the time. It's a really fun extra feature, surprisingly useful. So super cool. So I would say, what how does it rate on my system? I didn't assign any numerical values, but I would say this is the best compromise that I found for just an everyday carry flashlight. Um, I am still kind of amazed that Olight wanted to send me cool flashlights to talk to you all about as a fun thing to do during this wedding month when it's a little harder to produce Old Norse content, maybe. And I think that it's fun that it's green because that's the color that I like. So it's great to, um, it's even a good fit. Definitely keeping this. This has got to be my top recommendation for somebody's just daily carry flashlight. I mean, my previous one was the Baton 4. This exceeds the Baton 4 in brightness, in having, like, the Baton 4 does have that charging pack, that little power bank, and that is a nice little thing to have, but it's an extra thing to bring. And if you have a regular USB-C charge cord and you're traveling, then you don't need to bring something extra. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that these last so long, and according to the instruction manual, this would last weeks on its lowest light setting, which I guess I could in principle test, but I don't need to. And I'm not going to because I need a light in my pocket all the time. Uh, the fact that the battery lasts so long doesn't make me too worried about, carrying around a power pack. It's probably more convenient to just have it charge USB-C without needing the extra power pack thing. So it's better than the Baton 4. Uh, Pocket clips about the same, non-threatening about the same. Intuitive use, it's easy to learn how to use it. Battery indicator is good. Feel in pocket is good. Looks cool. Definitely doesn't look like, I mean, I think it just takes one glance at it to tell out of a pocket to tell that it's not a knife. Uh, it doesn't have the bezels, which I'm happy for because I don't want it, again, to look like something TSA should take away from me. And the laser pointer is such a cool extra feature. Maybe other people would find the UV a little bit more useful than that. Probably depends on what you do. Um, but also for like public talks, I'm going to be using that all the time, right? Even, both for saying like, hey, you in the audience, yes, I'm taking your question, or, pointing at something on a board or a screen or whatever that I'm pointing at, demonstrating. So this gets an A plus for me for sure. Tom 4 probably gets an A. And by the way, the Marauder Mini 2 is going to get an A+ too for a very different application. Um, but I'll talk about that in a different video because that's going to involve having to show you wedding footage. We got a ton of great wedding footage for this. All right. Well, if you enjoyed this foray into flashlights, let me know and let me know what feature you would use. Would you enjoy the green laser pointer like I do, or do you just want a red, nice looking, really bright flashlight that you can rely on to carry in your pocket, which is the main reason I was interested in this in the first place, and it delivered. For now, thanks everybody for your support and kindness. And from beautiful Colorado, I'm wishing you all the best. All right, it's not pitch dark or anything, but this is the sort of environment in which I would be mostly using it. So let's see just how bright the Arkpro is. So, like the Marauder Mini 2, the floodlight is really good. I mean, it really lights up the mural. Spotlight, also really good. Obviously a little less range, but really, really nice. UV light isn't going to reach that far. Interestingly, I can use the laser pointer with the other lights. So that's kind of cool. Easier to see with the floodlight than with the spotlight. And of course, there's actually lots of different levels. That's dimmest, next bright, and then back to dimmest. And it will just turn on at whatever the last setting you had it on was. You can also hit twice for brightest, and you can hit 3 times for strobe. Pretty cool. What do you think? Can you still see? What are your comments?
It fits in the pocket really nicely. Like, it's very compact.
Intuitive use?
Is it?
Is it? What do you think?
There's an on button.
Well, but actually that's one of the criteria that I was evaluating for. Like, can you tell how to turn it on?
Yeah, that's true.
And that's battery indicator.
Okay, okay.
So it shows you it's 100%.
It's like a knife in your pocket. Like, it's got the same profile. So I